Good morning, everybody. We're just doing a little ad hoc episode because there's some big announcements that happened over the weekend. Chat GPT has integrated all of their chat settings. So analytics and plugins and DALI are now all in one. So if you're in Chat GPT 4, you no longer have to switch between those two and set up different chats. What this means is you can just set up one chat for a very focused avatar, build all the context, and have access to all the tools from data analytics to content creation plugins, you name it. Huge change. But what it kicks off is a question Ben just asked me, which was how is Apple going to do it? What other platforms? And what I think we're going to see happen is AI is going to be more platform or OS specific. And what I mean by that is if you look at tools like Adobe Suite, for example, like Adobe has mastered the game of regenerative fill for Photoshop. I don't know a tool that beats it. For creating vector images, Adobe Illustrator is just absolutely crushing it. So when it gets to things like iOS, I my belief is that they're going to use the learning more on a like an operating platform perspective and make everything that communicates together more intuitive. So my hope would be that when you ask Siri something, she is able to use AI to craft replies and it's going to master your tone. That to me gets on like the scary level of being able to almost like recreate you as an individual. So I mean that one to me is the slippery slope, but they're 100% working on it. I know Amazon has their own. Google's Bard is getting smarter, but I think when they use it, if you have personal G Suite, not like a company G Suite, they've already integrated most of their Bard tools into Sheets, um, Word or Google Docs, like in their platform there. So I think that, and then Salesforce is another example, like from workflow automation for sales teams. It's completely taking over like sales conversations, booking meetings, moving people through the pipeline, documenting notes, etc. Zoom, I mean, we used to use Otter all the time, but Zoom started to integrate their own
Mhm.
AI transcription service. Microsoft has theirs. So I think you're going to see AI just proliferate every platform where it's most beneficial, much like when we saw Word implement spell check and grammar checking. I think this is just the 100x version of what those things are like. So I think you're just going to see it across and the relevancy to the platform change it and how they implement it.
Because the reason I asked was like for Adobe and Microsoft, it makes perfect sense because their software is what they do. And I was asking about Apple because when I think of Apple, I think way more of hardware than I do software. But as I was thinking that, I'm also updating my phone to iOS 17 as we speak. So I was like, well, there's the software implication. But I don't know if Apple would go the route of like generative AI. It would be like you said, more like deepening what their softwares already do. And you think of
Yeah,
Apple, like they already use AI. That's the reason why at 4:30 p.m. on summer days, it's like this is how long it's going to take you to get to the golf course in your neighborhood because it already is tracking you. So that yeah, recreating who we are, you get like your own avatar for them, and then you don't think that data is going to be sold to advertisers. They know exactly where you are at any given time.
100%. I would think it would be cool though to have more of like a concierge level service with Siri because they already have a bank. They have Apple Pay. So, I mean, just things like, hey, can you book me a flight and a hotel going to here and here
Right.
on this airline? And it just knows how to integrate your apps and go do these things. And it'd be like, oh, I have found a flight from here to here for this price. Should I go ahead and book it? Yes. Like
And it
it
knows your
has access to
preferences.
the apps. So why can't it function within them?
Yeah. It's not just Siri. She's going to become like Jarvis from Iron Man, like a true like virtual
Yes.
assistant.
Yes, 100%. If you wanted my guess, that's where I think they're going. And I hope they go there. I would love a
That's cool.
Jarvis.
That's a great. I'm glad I asked that question now. That's an awesome man. That's exciting to think about.
But if you think about their integrations, like they're the few that have access to that. And the finance transaction piece is the big one, but they have that. They have your biometric data, which is consistent with all your travel apps. So we'll see.
It's cool to
It's
think
gonna
about it
be
like that because we talk about generative types of AI all the time, especially on the show because we're in content. But like that's a way different application than what we've talked about before.
so I think the generative AI right now is the thing that's most accessible, most familiar, and least threatening to people. Like, oh, cool, you can create an image, not threatening. Like, oh, you can access my entire life and like spend
Yeah.
money on my behalf. A little bit scarier. But I
Like
think the
predictive.
piece, yeah, yeah, like I know where you want to go. But I think the next piece, like, and this is where we've been having success, but haven't talked about it too broadly, is more on the workflow automation. How do we move the tasks that are time consuming, low value into a process that just needs supervision or dictation, and then allow people time to go focus on like high leverage, high importance tasks, like things that generate significant returns. And I think people who embrace that fastest are going to see the biggest, I guess, conquer more market share or make
Yeah.
bigger impacts in where they're headed.
Cool.
Sweet. Good Monday morning chat. Glad I had a cup of coffee before I talked to you guys
Yeah.
this morning. But sweet. Well, I love our bonus episode. We'll flip this out on social, and then we'll have another one later in the week when we've had some coffees and chatted through
That
a little
sounds like a
more.
plan.
Sweet. How do you stop recording in Microsoft? That's why we use Zoom.